Society has all these ideas about what being over 50 means, that we slow down, that our best days are behind us. But what if that's completely wrong? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I discovered that making specific changes after 50 can make this chapter of our lives absolutely amazing in its own unique way. So today I'm sharing 15 things I changed that made a huge difference. There's a lot more, but these are the ones that I think are most important. Let's start with some fundamentals you might have heard before. But stick with me because as we get towards the middle, we'll get to some changes that most people over 50 never think about, and they actually might be game changers. Okay, number one, change your mindset. Change your mindset about aging. What really gets me is all these ideas about aging usually come from people who aren't even 50 yet. They think they know what it's like, that our minds slow down, that our bodies fail, that we should just accept limitations. And yes, our bodies and minds do change. I'm not saying they don't. But there's a huge difference between acknowledging change and accepting unnecessary limitations that society puts on us. I'm going to say it again, age is just a number. And I know you've heard that before, but it is so true. And I believe the biggest mindset shift is don't let your age change what you think is possible. Your mindset is still yours to control. And the big difference, you've got decades of experience to help you define the rest of your life. So let's stop looking behind us. I know that when I turned 18, I didn't wish I was 10 again. Or when I was in my 30s, I didn't long for the days I went to the club and things like that. Each stage of life has its own value. And this mindset shift is your foundation because it affects everything else we're going to talk about. And of course, we're going to start with your physical health. So number two, know your numbers. Once you've got your mindset right, it's time to get serious about the numbers that actually matter. Blood pressure, cholesterol levels, blood sugar, vitamin D, bone density, inflammatory markers. Whatever metrics will give you insight into your health. And even if some of these even if some of these numbers aren't ideal right now, most can be improved through lifestyle changes. Schedule that physical you've been putting off. Seriously, understanding your current health status gives you a baseline to build from. And yes, I'm not a doctor, but you need to know your numbers because remember, you're never going to be younger than you are right at this moment. So taking care of your health now is an investment that your future self will definitely thank you for. And once you know the numbers, the next step is clear. You need to move your body in ways that actually work for you. Take care of your physical health. After 50, your body needs different care than it did before. This isn't about limitations, it's about being smart and working with your body, not against it. Movement that works best for you is what you're looking for. Back in the day, I was right at the beginning of that gym transforming into the co-ed hangouts. Do you remember that? The whole Arnold pumping iron and Jane Fonda workout video era. It was all about going to the gym, aerobic classes, and only the motto was no pain, no gain. But hey, you're over 50. Forget that. Focus on movements that strengthen your body while protecting your joints. Prioritize strength training to build and maintain muscle, balance exercises to prevent falls, flexibility work for mobility, and low impact cardio for heart health. The key is finding activities you enjoy because the best exercise is the one you'll actually do. And from here, we're going to go straight into nutrition because your nutritional needs change significantly after 50. Your body becomes less efficient at building muscle, absorbing nutrients, and signaling hunger and fullness. Yep, I've been there. Focus on increasing your protein, choosing foods packed with nutrients rather than empty calories. And I know it's hard, but you'll thank yourself. Eating on a consistent schedule is great, staying hydrated, and including healthy fats for brain health. I'm not saying you can't have the crap, but if you do, that's a choice. So just make sure you're aware of it and maybe not choose it so often. These two aspects of health work together. Good nutrition fuels effective movement, and movement helps your body use nutrients better. It's a partnership that keeps your energy up and your body strong. And that all works with the next point I want to make about taking your sleep seriously. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's when your body repairs itself, your brain clears out the toxins, and your hormones rebalance. Yes, that's what we want. Bad sleep can be part of aging, but you don't have to accept it. It's one of the biggest mistakes we make is that we can't change it. Most sleep issues can be addressed by going to bed and waking up at the same time, making your bedroom into a sleep sanctuary, the whole no screens before bed, or the coffee and the alcohol, and getting some morning sunlight. Those all help you sleep better. And when you sleep better, everything improves. Your mood, your energy, your thinking. It's really worth figuring out. And if you found a sleep strategy that works well for you, drop it in the comments. I read every comment and would love to hear what's working for you. Okay, so we've covered kind of the physical foundation. So let's talk about some changes that might surprise you in how you structure your life. So the first one, or number 5, whichever way you were going, is how you spend your time. This is so important. How do you spend your time? Are you doing what you want to do with your time or wasting it away? And quick pause, have you ever actually looked at where your time goes each day? Most people are shocked when they do this. Are you spending your time on activities that actually energize you or ones that drain you? Have you eliminated time wasters that no longer serve you? Are you making conscious choices about your time rather than just falling into routines? I do have a video on time audit if you really want to understand how you spend your time. It's quite surprising when you do it. I really believe that if you want to be happy and fulfilled, this should be your priority, figuring out how you spend your time. And then once you know how you're spending your time, you can make better choices about one of the biggest time investments in our lives, which is our work. We can rethink what work means, because the traditional method of working until 65 and then stopping completely just doesn't work for the majority of people anymore. What you want to accomplish day in and day out often changes. The things that used to make you happy in your workday might not be the same anymore. It's all about reassessing how you want to spend your time and what actually brings you satisfaction now. Whether you're thinking about retirement or planning to keep on working, consider all your options. Think of using your expertise as a consultant, mentoring young people, starting something you're passionate about that can provide profit too. Maybe you want to create a gradual transition into retirement or finding meaningful volunteer work. I have a story about my mom. She passed in 2010 before all these online opportunities we have today. But after she had retired, she had a very high level job. She noticed that used her brain a lot. She noticed her brain wasn't as sharp. She told me she felt her mind was turning to mush because she wasn't using it like she had before. So her old company asked her to come back as a consultant, and it was amazing because one, she made way more money. She was making good money, but she made way more money, working fewer hours, and her brain felt alive again. The mental challenges brought back her sharpness. If she were here today, she'd have so many more options: online businesses, teaching courses, working with companies anywhere in the world. But even back then, she found work that gave her energy instead of draining it. Work can be whatever you want it to be now. You have the experience to call the shots. And how you think about work connects directly to how you think about my next point, which is money. You need to rethink your relationship with money. Money is such a complicated topic at our age. Some people are worried they don't have enough. Others have plenty, but still worry constantly. What helps is getting clear on what enough actually means for your life and not anyone else's. It's also about aligning your spending with what truly matters to you now. Just like your health, you need to know your financial numbers. Don't shy away from them. Really dig deep and know where you are at this moment in time. Understanding these numbers gives you control, just like knowing your health metrics. And remember, the things you valued at 30 aren't necessarily what you value at 50 plus. Financial peace comes from clarity, not just like a number in your account. This shift in how you think about money often requires you to learn new ways of thinking, which brings us to our next point. Be willing to be a beginner again. I think this one is so important because most people our age avoid this like the plague. There's this tendency as we age to stick to what we know, but that comfort zone can really limit us. Challenge yourself to learn something completely new each year. Listen to different perspectives. I know it's hard, but try. Question your assumptions. Get comfortable saying, I don't know. Approach new things with curiosity. I remember we were talking about nutrition earlier. Maybe approach that as a beginner. Being a beginner keeps your brain sharp and your perspective fresh. It keeps you fun and interesting. And there's actually solid research showing that learning new skills creates these neural pathways in our brains, which helps maintain cognitive function as we age. And if you're going to be a beginner at something new, technology is an area where learning can really enhance your quality of life. So my next point is learn the tech. So many people our age say, I'm not good with technology, like it's some unchangeable trait. But technology isn't going away. I've always been pretty tech savvy just because I love figuring out new apps and platforms and all of that stuff. And honestly, it's kept me connected in ways that many people my age kind of miss out. Well, some of my friends get overwhelmed by new digital tools and miss opportunities because of it. I'm over here creating YouTube videos, using AI, and staying on top of digital trends. I don't just dabble in tech, I dive in. When AI tools started emerging, I didn't wait for someone to teach me. I experimented, learned the systems, and now I use them regularly. You don't have to become a programmer, but choosing one area of technology that interests you and really understanding it can be transforming. Like I said, the tech's not going anywhere. And so the good news is you don't need to become a tech expert. Just learn the specific tools that make your life better or easier. Focus on just what you need, take it one step at a time, and be patient with yourself. You weren't born knowing how to use a smartphone. Nobody was. A case in point is my mother-in-law refused to figure out her smartphone because she had the mindset, I can't do this, it's too complicated. And of course, she was introduced it at an older age. Now she's at the point health-wise that she can't learn it anymore. And because of that, she's completely cut off from any friends or family unless we go visit her, which is a real shame. With just a little bit of knowledge, she could have had all these different connections where even though they weren't visiting her physically, she could understand that they were there or get in contact with them. Another perfect example is AI. It's here and not going anywhere. So figure it out. You are not behind because the majority of people are learning this at the same time. And if you really want to get things going, be ahead of the curve. and really get to know AI. Maybe you'll start teaching it. So we've covered health, we've covered some practical life change. Let's talk about some changes that really impact how you feel every single day. Now, we're coming up to one of my favorites, and that is pamper yourself and have fun. Yes, especially if you haven't in the past. Now's the time to prioritize joy and pleasure in your life. This can mean taking classes you've always been interested in, planning on a trip you've been putting off. Come on, do it. Scheduling regular self-care appointments, whatever that means. Trying new restaurants, dancing, even if it's just in your kitchen. Do stuff that makes you happy. Having fun isn't frivolous, it's essential. Joy keeps us young at heart. If not now, when? And the good thing is when you prioritize joy, you start to realize how important your environment is to your everyday happiness. So my next point is make your space work for you. Your home should support this next chapter of your life, not hold you back. This doesn't necessarily mean downsizing, though it might, but ask yourself, does my home make me happy when I walk in? Is it becoming harder to maintain? Does the location still suit your lifestyle? Could some minor changes make it more comfortable? Am I holding on to space I don't use? I'm not saying you need to buy all new furniture or move to another country unless that's what you really want to do. It's more about not just living with what has always been. Look around and make changes that bring you happiness every day. If you're spending time at home, shouldn't it be a place surrounded with things that make you feel good? I really believe your home should be a source of comfort, not stress. And, make proactive choices now rather than be forced into changes later. As your physical space transforms, you might also start thinking differently about your place in the world. And that's my next point, where you think about the legacy you're creating. When people hear the word legacy, they often think it's just about what you leave behind when you're gone. But to me, it's also about how you're living right now and the impact you're having every day. I can look back and say, yeah, I think I was pretty selfish in my 20s and probably, to be honest, in my 30s. But as I gotten older, I've realized that the mark you leave on the world happens through what you give, your time, knowledge, or support. That saying, you get back more than you give, is completely true. Here's something not many people talk about. This is when you have the most to offer. You have wisdom, perspective, and often more resources to make a difference. So what wisdom do you want to pass on? What causes really matter to you? What stories from your life are worth preserving? And these aren't morbid questions. They're energizing. They help you focus on what truly matters and makes your days more meaningful. And speaking of what truly matters, let's talk about the people in your life, because this next point can hurt, but evaluate your relationships. This is huge, but you need to take an honest look at who deserves a place in your life moving forward. Remember I said in point 1 that your mindset about aging impacts your relationships? Here's why. When you stop believing that your best days are behind you, you stop accepting relationships that don't serve you. So which relationships energize you and which ones drain you? Who supports your growth and who keeps you stuck in old patterns? Have you ever noticed that society kind of expects us just to accept difficult relationships as we age? Like we should put up with energy draining connections because that's how it's always been? I think that's absolutely the wrong approach. You've earned the right to be selective about who you spend time with. Life is too short for relationships that deplete you. Once you got the right people around you, there's one more aspect of relationships that can transform your life. So I want you to think about redefining intimacy and connection, because connection is crucial at our age. And this is the time to double down on relationships that matter. If you already have deep relationships, nurture them. Invest even more time and energy in those connections. And consider expanding your circle to include community involvement and new friendships. I know it's hard to make connections with new people, but try. If you define connections more narrowly in the past, where it's mainly on your romantic partnership or your immediate family, I think now's the time to broaden that definition. Meaningful connections come in many forms. You'll find them: friendships, online friendships, family bonds, community involvement, and even relationships with yourself. Intimacy and connection remain fundamental needs throughout our life, but how we experience them evolves. As a couple, this might mean finding new ways to connect emotionally and physically as your bodies and needs change. And we all change, so we're different now than we were 25 years ago. But the need to feel seen, heard, and valued doesn't diminish with age. I actually think we need it more, because as we age, we kind of start to feel invisible. But let me share 2 bonus tips I promised you at the beginning. So bonus tip number 1, change how you dress. What? Dress for the body you have now, not the one you had 20 years ago. That's gone. Find a personal style that makes you feel confident and comfortable. Quality over quantity. And remember, age appropriate is whatever makes you feel good. And part of that, this is a really important part, stop saving those things for special occasions. We were taught to keep the good china for holidays, the expensive perfume for parties, and only wear our best jewelry on rare occasions. But you know what? You being here is special enough. Use those beautiful plates of yours for Tuesday night dinners, or your favorite jewelry to the grocery store, if it makes you happy. Don't let your nicest things sit in drawers waiting for some mythical perfect moment that might never come, because every day you get to experience is that special occasion. Bonus tip number 2, stop worrying about what's acceptable. One of the best things about being over 50, you can stop worrying so much about what others think is acceptable. I'm still going to rock out at concerts in the way that I do, and I could care less if anyone is thinking I'm too old to do that. Why would I stop doing something I love just because society has some arbitrary rule about what's age appropriate, how I should conduct myself? You've earned the right to say no without guilt, to set boundaries, to express your opinions. This is truly liberating and something everyone over 50 should embrace, because it transforms how you experience every single day. And I have, oh my gosh, another bonus. I can't stop. My last bonus, the last tip is let go of regrets. One of the biggest burdens many of us carry is regret. We regret career choices, relationship decisions, things we said, things we didn't say. Here's my truth. Those things have already happened. I can't change them, but I absolutely can change how I deal with them now. If I've wronged someone and it's possible to make amends, absolutely I'm going to own it. I'll reach out, I'll apologize sincerely and try to make it right. I don't necessarily need them back in my life. You're just getting rid of that regret. But for most regrets, choices you made that can't be undone, paths not taken, the kindest thing we can do for ourselves is to practice self-compassion. We made the best decision we could with the information we had at the time. So instead of looking back with regret, what if we asked ourselves, what can I do today that my future self won't regret? Because I think the best revenge against regret is living well today. Turning your attention to creating a life that feels meaningful now. rather than dwelling on what could have been. Ready to take changes? Every month you wait to make changes means missing out on potential joy and fulfillment. They might feel overwhelming. There's 15 of them. Well, actually there's 18. But you don't have to tackle them all at once. Start with one that works for you. You're the boss. Which one of these will you start with? What would make the biggest difference in your life right now? Let me know in the comments, because this is the stuff I love. And if you found this helpful, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you don't know where to start, check out my next video that I have up on the screen. And thanks for watching.